Well, hello everyone. This is your friend Thomas Moore coming at you live from the Spyderco Millie PM2 Para 3 Club YouTube page, and I'm back. It's been a minute since I've been here. I've been doing sharpening, but just haven't been doing it on camera. And I figure it's time to return back here and do some live sharpening. So, we got some changes. We've got a pretty big, significant change in my sharpening setup. As you can see here, today I'm going to show off my new sharpener, which is this big mamma jamma right here. It's a TSProf K03, K03, and it's sitting next to my TSProf Cadet. So it's kind of hard to show from this above angle what the exact scale of this is, but you can tell by the base. This is the Cadet. This is what I've been using for the last 2.5 years. I fucking love the Cadet. Don't get me wrong. The Cadet is what took my sharpening to a professional level. It's a terrific machine, and it now feels tiny compared to my new one. But the Cadet is very simple. This is not a Cadet Pro. This is a regular Cadet, which means that the adjustment doesn't have a gear on it. You have to adjust it by just tension. But it's very simple sharpener. Got a nice little guide rod. Uses 6-inch stones. Sharpens anything. Sharpens kitchen knives, whatever. However, TSProf, who makes this sharpener, both these sharpeners, has seen me sharpening on Instagram, and I've been tagging them on posts. Let me get this out of the way. Somewhere over here. And they were kind enough to just straight up say, hey, want to upgrade to the K03, and we'll send you one for free. And they didn't ask anything in return for it. They just know I'll post content using it, and they want to show it off. So I happily accepted, and I've been using this for the last about 3 weeks now, 2-3 weeks. It came in a big giant wooden crate. It is significantly heavier. I'd say it's 3 to 4 times heavier than the Cadet. It's got some really cool features. It's a much different experience. I wouldn't say I like it drastically more than my Cadet. It's just different. So this is definitely better for sharpening bigger knives than the Cadet is, just because the rod's a lot longer. It can sharpen from very low angles to very high angles. The coolest feature of it, which I'll show, is this angle cube that's built into the guide rod. The guide rod is much heavier. It's a much thicker rod. Still holds 6-inch stones or whatever size stone you want. But it's got a built-in angle cube that which is so cool. And I didn't think that was a big deal because I use a normal cube on the Cadet. But this has become very helpful in quickly dialing stuff in. So I like it. So today, oops, there we go. We are going to, I just started this guy's order. I don't know exactly what this is going to look like. I know it's some Spydies. I'm going to show you how we use the Cadet or the K03 on, let's see what I pulled out of the bag. See if this is a good one to start with. Interesting. A factory edged S110V military 1. Or let's see what else is in here. Just to see if there's something else that makes more sense. This guy sent 4 Spydies, which I love doing Spydies. Yeah, let's do that. I don't want to do a DLC knife right now. DLC knives stress me out too much. It's easy to scrap, so I have to tape up the DLC Spydie. So we're going to do this military. Let's get it mounted up. Let's see if I can make this all fit on my desk. That's one benefit of the Cadet. If you have a limited workspace, not only like right where you are, but you have to remember that this guide rod, this big old guide rod, is really long. So I'm sticking off the back of my desk right here, and I have a monitor, and I have to be kind of careful where I set this, or I'll poke the monitor. So make sure if you are looking at this that you have a big enough workspace. But let's get this mounted up. The K03 comes with, this is the Hunter Pro version. Comes with these clamps. I think these are called the hole milled clamps. They work well for bigger knives. They work okay for smaller pocket knives. They're a little bit different than the clamps that come with the Cadet, which also comes with 2 individual clamps. But this is the same center fillet clamp that I've been using previously and I love. So I swapped it over here and we're going to use it. So let's mount this up. The way you mount, I don't think I've ever sharpened a military, to be honest. I don't think I have. So I'll show you, we'll figure it out together. So kind of lightly tighten it in there. I'm going to grab my 150 grit Hapstone Premium CDN stone and lock it in to the guide rod. Okay. And to do typical thought process behind sharpening is you want, you know, the tip and the pivot or the tip and the heel or whatever lined up. On Spydies, what's important to me is that this line, oops, this might be kind of hard to do. This flat grind line right there is parallel or slightly skewed this way from the stone like it is now, so I can grind out the heel without hitting this, because if you have it tweaked the wrong way, you'll put a notch in this. These stones are nice because they don't have grit on the side really. I think they do, but it's not exposed really. So kind of line it up like that and then tighten it down. The one downfall of this clamp, this is the fillet clamp, is these screws are 2mm screws, and they do strip out over time, so I have to replace them fairly frequently. I'm kind of not using this clamp the way it's supposed to be used, so it's my own fault. But also I have Plastidip right here on the clamp, so it helps center the knife vertically and it helps hold it in place and keeps it from slipping around. Okay, so this is a Spyderco. So theoretically, should be about 17 degrees. But we're still going to do our little Sharpie trick. Most important tool in my sharpening setup is the Sharpie to find the existing angle. So the way I usually do Spydercos, it's going to be interesting doing this on camera. I set the angle cube to 17 degrees to start. Right there. I'm going to lock it in. Then I'm just going to do a sweep along the edge and see what the Sharpie looks like. And after just doing a quick little initial pass, it removed most of it. We have a little bit of Sharpie on the leading edge, but this is pretty clean for just a starting point. So right here along the leading edge is a little bit. Right here towards the tip, which is pretty common, there'll be usually Sharpie at the top of the bevel. It kind of fades off. That's the way they sharpen these things. They usually end up that way. Now to confirm, flip the knife over, do the other side. Light pass. And we're looking a little shallow. And I prefer to be a little bit at a higher angle than a lower angle. It just makes sharpening way faster and easier and cleaner, and I know I'm apexing the edge. So we're going to look at this again. It's at 17.1, 17 degrees. Okay. So I'm going to adjust this a tad. We're going to go up to 17.5 degrees. See if that gives us better results on both sides. Redo the Sharpie. This is where you can really save some time. So like I like to do Spydies at 17 or close to it, but just tweaking it a little bit can save me a lot of time in reprofiling. This is S110B. It might take a minute. So that's cleanly moves it a lot better at 17.5. Check this side. And this is a better removal on this side too. So we're going to go 17.5 degrees. Call that good. Oop. Make sure this is tightened down really well without stripping it. Okay. So that's about it. Now we're just going to sharpen. I always start when I sharpen on the presentation side up. This is just a habit I have because I know that's where I can keep track of how many flips I have. And then when I take it off, I know what side I'm stropping from. So let's put the Sharpie back on just so I can demonstrate a little better. The Sharpie will show you anywhere that the stone's not hitting. So any divots, there's usually a divot right there. The tip will be kind of off. So it's a guide for what we have to fix. So let's get sharpening on the K03. Make sure I'm not going to poke my monitor. I'm going to have to scoot this down a little bit. Okay, before I do that, the angle stop needs to be adjusted a little bit so I don't walk the stone onto the face of the knife. So I'm going to scoot that angle stop up just a ½ inch or so. A little bit more. Swing it, make sure the stone stays below the face of the blade. Do the rear angle stop, same thing. Okay. Now we're going to sharpen. See if I can zoom and not poke the screen. So the one thing that I'm getting used to about the K03 over the Cadet is doing tips on the K03 is a different feeling. The rod is a lot heavier. So it actually, with these heavy ass stones and the rod being heavier, it does put a little bit of pressure on the sharpening surface. So it seems to go faster because of that. So we already cleaned all the Sharpie off the edge, just real quick. The one thing with the tip is I have to be a little more careful because I can't easily twist it. There's little rubber feet on here. So this thing's a lot more stable than the Cadet. It doesn't move around. I don't have to hold it with my left hand. But doing tips, I usually use my finger to guide still, just to make sure I'm not rolling the tip. And it just feels a little bit different because I can't reorient it. The sharpener is easy to do it. Okay, now we're going to do the heel. So we're just lined up straight. We're parallel with the flat grind line. This should come out pretty quickly. So just a couple, 2, 3 up and down strokes, and then a couple forward strokes. Lets me examine what it looks like. You don't want to overdo the heel. You can definitely overdo the heel. And then it gives a little upward curl to it. So let's see what that looks like. It's basically done. It's really, heels aren't that hard. They don't take that long. I'm going to do a couple more strokes on it, make it totally flush. But the heel, for the most part, is gone. And I like to do the heels first pass. And if it makes sense, the apex first pass, like this one we're going to do. Let's do a couple strokes. Got a couple people joining me. So we got Pretty Fly for Knife Guy watching. We got Jonathan Jetton saying what's up. Thank you guys for joining me. Feel free to say whatever you want to say in the comments. And join me on this little sharpening adventure we're going on. I'm just going to do one more pass down the edge. Make sure the heel's good. So a lot of people, I don't know. I don't have enough experience with the steel. I don't see a lot of S110B come in to sharpen. I don't see a lot of people post it on the group. I just don't see a lot about it. It's got like a negative reputation for, I don't know why, but it does. People say it's chippy. People say it's impossible to sharpen. We're going to find out if it's impossible to sharpen. So we're going to take our fingernail right now, kind of just feel for a burr. Don't really have one yet. We have one towards the tip for sure. I can take it off. It kind of fades off. So we kind of know where we're good to go at. And as I go down the edge with this first pass, you can hear right there, you can hear the burr. It's a different sound. So I usually do mostly forward strokes, but I like to do reverse strokes down the edge as well. This makes sense to me. I don't know if there's a good reason for it. Goes to his heel. Pretty fly for a knife guy, says that Rex 121 looks promising. I have a couple sages, hopefully, in the mail on the way here. That is one thing that kind of sucks, and it's not blaming anybody. It's just, I understand totally about sharpening is I get work and get people wanting to send me knives, but people have lives, and sometimes it takes a minute for them to get to the post office. If they're not, it's not part of their daily routine like it is for me to go a couple times a week. So I don't know when the Rex 121s are coming in, but they're supposed to be coming soonish, I hope. Okay, this heel is looking done on this side. It's done. Yeah, they're done. So, not too bad. So now we're just going to do some forward strokes down the edge. All the Sharpie's gone. Tip looking really nice. Now we're just going to try to work up a burr. It's going pretty easy, to be totally honest. Let's do one more pass. Okay. So Jonathan says, I sharpen S110D with the same premium CBN stones. I've never had a problem with it. I don't seem to have a problem with it either. Seems like I got probably a minor burr going on both sides. For sure I have a burr towards the tip. So we'll do one more pass. One thing I've kind of grown in my sharpening is I still check for a burr with my fingernail like this. We have one a little bit. I like to be able to see it now, though. I like to be able to see a visual burr across the edge. It just makes me know that we're all apexed out, and I feel like I get very aggressive edges when I do that. Then don't miss any spots. So we're going to do 2 to 3 passes. It depends on what it takes for me to be able to see the burr on the other side. Again, you can hear the burr that we're hitting towards the tip. Our heel is good, so we're kind of just not sawing on it anymore. We're just kind of working down the edge. We know towards the tip we're good already, so really just got to work the belly. Okay, let's see if we can see a burr. Not really see it yet, so probably do one more pass. For sure, I can see it up here. So let's do one more pass. If you're having problems getting a burr ever, flip your knife. Don't work one side so much that you end up bucking at the bevel and making it wide. Flip it, apex the opposite side, then flip back, and you'll get a burr a lot quicker than if you just work one side. So we know we're good on the tip. Again, we're just going to work the belly, the flat. Lion Knives wants to know what kind of stones I'm using. I am using Hapstone Premium CBNs. This is a 150 grit. It's what I always start with on every edge. There's a lot of, I don't know if it's a myth, but I don't, it's not my experience. People will start too high of a grit to think that edges need to have not be touched by something very aggressive. This is not a very aggressive stone if you feel it to touch, but it cuts like crazy. So now I can see visual burr. You can feel it there. So we're good on the side. We're going to do one more pass. Quick one. Make sure just flip the burr back to the other side. And now let's make sure we're doing all the same strokes, same direction. This is the last pass we're probably going to do on the stone. So I want all my scratches to go forward. And if the burr is gone, like it is, we know we've apexed it. I can see the burr along the edge. That's what I like. I like just a very light little white line goes to the edge. It's just reassurance that you're there. Because nothing sucks more, especially when you're mirroring a knife, than when you think you apexed it, but you're not sure, and you can kind of feel the burr, then you mirror it, and then you go to cut paper, and it's not sharp. So now I know we've done our job and we've gotten there. So let's do a quick pass. We're just kind of knocking the burr down. That's it. Okay, now we're going to switch to our 400 grit stone is what I finished my satin edges with. Lion Knives asking, is 150 good for reprofiling and removing chips? Yes, it is. It seems like it's high. I have an 80, and 80 I use for like drastically damaged edges. But I feel like, honestly, 150 cuts faster, and it cuts cleaner for sure. But the 150 is a killer stone. You don't need to go lower to reprofile or get chips out. I've done massive repairs with the 150, and it just kills it. It leaves a pretty nice looking finish. Honestly, it leaves a finish that's very similar to the factory Spyderco grind. And so now we're just going to hit it with the 400 briefly to polish it up a little bit and kind of kill the burr off. I usually do 2 passes with the 400 grit stone, just to make sure the burr's gone, to make sure everything's lined up and everything looks nice and smooth. One thing, especially not on these stones, but if you're looking at the KME, scratches will always be more evident at the heel, it seems like, and they take more effort to get out. So I do a couple just vertical scrubbing passes to make sure the big scratches are gone. If you're mirroring it, make sure you pay attention to the heel. That's usually the flaw on a mirrored edge, is the heel doesn't look quite there. Okay. Just quick passes. Okay, flip back. The last pass we're going to do. A lot of people say that you should just do finishing strokes to deburr it. I do, but I don't really change my technique too much. I just kind of do the same thing. And any burr that's left, I'm going to take off on my strop. Make sure all looks nice and smooth. There's no changes in the texture along the edge. It looks nice and just uniform. We're there. Kill the burr on this side. That's it. Okay, park my doodad. Jonathan says, if I was going to use just one stone for the rest of my life, it would be Hapstone Premium CBN 150 stone. I can get hair whittling sharp with that stone and a good strop. Abso-fucking-lutely. I completely agree with that. Move this heavy beast out of the way. Yeah, the 150, you could literally sharpen a whole knife with chips on the edge to being able to carry it with just the 150. It leaves a nice finish. It cuts well. The 400 is a little bit better, sharper. Maybe. I don't know. I've only left it with the 150 a couple times by itself, but it definitely gets sharp. Okay, so when you strop, I used to overstrop my edges. They used to get way dull, and I didn't know why. I'm using 6 micron gunny juice on a leather paddle strop. I don't use strops on my machine anymore. I just don't really like it. They like the leather on these Beavercraft leather strops. They're like $20. Got 2 sides. Got 3 micron, 6 micron. I've been using 6 micron. Starting with the presentation side, the same as because we started the sharpener on the presentation side. The burr is now here, so we're going to kind of feel the edge, and you can kind of see it's a little rough. Let's zoom in. It's kind of leading a little bit of a pattern in the strop. So we're pulling the burr off. So a tiny bit of pressure, not too much. To find the angle on the strop, you can push while you lift the back edge until it catches. That's the kind of angle you want to be at. It'll feel nice and smooth when you're there. Flip it, same thing. But at this point, the burr is pretty much gone. Just do a couple quick passes this side, then a couple more this side. Make sure the tip is good. Okay. Now I'm going to take a piece of paper. Just printer paper. You don't have to be magic, but my test of a knife is sharp is if it can cut printer paper smoothly. You can feel really sharp versus kind of sharp in the printer paper. And just drag it all the way across the edge. Make sure there's no chips. And there we go. I am not a hair whittler. I don't know how to do that, to be honest. My edges are as sharp as I can get them. But I don't use receipt paper or toilet paper or whatever people use. I just use printer paper. It feels sharp. Call it a day. And they're plenty sharp. So now we're going to grab a magic eraser. This one's beat to shit. I've been using it like crazy. And we're just going to rub magic eraser all over the face of the blade. Kind of working off any Sharpie that's left. That's the main thing. Just clean it up, but mainly getting the Sharpie that's on the bevel off. Careful when you do this. It's really easy to cut your hand when you work down the edge. Now I'm going to take a chamois cloth. This is made of leather. It is for drying your car. It is $10 for a giant sheet on Amazon. This is the best material for cleaning off knives by far. It's way better than microfiber because it absorbs any oils and any. This is all sharpening dust. I have like 20 of these around my house. Throw them in the washing machine when they get dirty. No big deal. Keeps your knife nice and clean. I'm just going to give it a quick wipe down, get any oils off, any fingerprints. When I return knives, I like them to look better than when they came in. And there we go. A sharpened S110 milli. So yeah, cool knife. That's sharp. Lion Knives talking about sharpening in the comments, about overstropping and being careful with the angle. I find that when I'm pulling off a burr off a satin edge, I'm not super careful. Sometimes I leave the angle a little bit too high, but I don't do a lot of passes. So it's pulling the burr off and hopefully not dulling the edge much. So there we go. So that was sharpening some S110V with a TSProf K03. Again, thank you to TSProf for hooking me up with this thing. I'm very open about, stuff I get for free in this hobby. This was free to me, and I'm very happy and thankful to do it. I will be. I only promote stuff that I really like, though, so I'm happy to do this. If the sharpener sucked, I wouldn't be doing videos of it. So again, K03, big beast. It's got some good, got some bad. I still love the Cadet. If you're looking at between the two, if you have limited space, you're definitely going to want the Cadet. It's easier to learn on, probably. This has some advantages. It's more stable. It goes faster, it seems. It's just because of the weight of the rod. But yeah, two great sharpeners from TSProf. And I've been banging out knives for the last couple. I did 6 customer orders this weekend. Felt good. And got a couple big orders in. If you want your knife sharpened, hit me up. Shoot me a message on Instagram. I am at Thomas O. Moore. And I'll be happy to take anything you got. Do damage edges, do dull edges. I do factory edges. It's all good. If you are not a member of the Spyderco PM2 Para 3 Club on Facebook, I don't even know what to say, but join it now. Get on Facebook and join the group that this Facebook or this YouTube page is for. Change your life. It changed my life. It's changed my connection to this hobby. So join the group. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.